Legends. This is Destiny, guys. I will be guiding you through some of the core concepts of League, as well as some beginner's tips. This video is intended for beginners, or those of you who are interested in the game and just want to know what it's like. If you already play League and say things like 1v1 me scrub, or what rank are you, wood, then this video probably isn't for you. Objectives. Let's go over the basics. A match of League of Legends typically takes place on a map called Summoner's Rift, where two teams of 5 battle against each other in an attempt to destroy the other team's base, which is called the Nexus. A match tends to last between 15 and 45 minutes. Players, who are referred to as summoners, start their champions at level 1. Champions gain experience and gold as the match progresses. Experience increases your champion's overall power, measured by levels, with the maximum level being 18. Gold is used to buy equipment and items to aid your champion in their battle against the enemy team. Summoner's Rift has 3 pathways, called lanes, that go from your base to the enemy's. Each lane has towers, which fire devastating rounds at any enemy unit in close range. The map is split diagonally, differentiating the allied team from the enemies, each side having an equal amount of towers. Beyond the base's walls are structures called inhibitors. There is one in each lane for both teams. An inhibitor cannot be damaged until the tower next to it is destroyed. Destroying an inhibitor benefits your team in that lane by empowering little helpers called minions. That's right, you and your 4 teammates aren't alone in your battle for the Nexus. 6 of these little guys spawn every 30 seconds in every lane, with the first wave appearing at 1 minute and 15 seconds into the game. The front 3 are soldiers that must get right next to an enemy to attack. They like the hands-on approach. The back 3 are nifty little wizards pew-pewing their wands from range because they are less beefy than the soldiers. Every third wave you get a cannon minion, the strongest of the 3. Minions are the primary source of gaining experience and gold in the game. As long as you're within range of an enemy minion dying, your champion will gain experience. To gain gold though, you have to deliver the killing blow, or last hit, to a minion. Players refer to the number of last hits as CS, which stands for creep score, a term from the days of yore in real-time strategy games. The more CS you get, the richer your champion is. Gold is also gained from killing enemy champions, destroying towers, and killing strong monsters in between the lanes in an area we call the jungle. We'll talk about the jungle more in a bit, but to understand the lanes and jungle better, first we'll cover summoner spells and champion roles. Summoner spells. Every champion has unique abilities that they alone possess, giving you a reason to pick them over a different champion in the same role. For instance, Mundo, the big purple Hulk before you, throws axes, has fire spinning around him, and he can regenerate like a boss. Whereas Tryndamere hits people with his big freaking sword, spins around, points out that people are chicken, and avoids death like a cockroach in an apocalypse. With you as the summoner, however, you are able to select additional abilities for your champion that will help them to stay alive or be more effective on the Rift. I'm not going to cover every summoner spell, only a handful. Most of the time, one of your 2 summoner spells will be Flash. Flash allows your champion to instantaneously travel a few feet away. While that may not sound like much, it can often mean the difference between living and dying, or getting a kill instead of your opponent slipping just out of range of your killing blow, or even landing a beneficial skill shot. Flash has a very long cooldown, so if you've gotten your opponent to use his, he will make for an easier kill until he has it up again. Of course, the same goes for you. Roles. There are 5 roles to choose from when playing League. Champions are intended to work better in some roles more than others. Let's start from the top and work our way down. Top lane. Top lane champions tend to be big, beefy bruiser types. What we call tanks often do well here. Champions that can take a lot of damage and laugh about it. Or hand-to-hand virtuosos. Generally, a top laner wants to be able to initiate team fights and stay in the front line, ready to peel enemies off their teammates. Top lane feels the farthest away from all the action. We often compare being in top lane to being stuck on an island. It's for this reason a top laner takes the summoner spell Teleport. It allows them to transport anywhere on the map where there's a friendly tower, minion, or vision-giving items called wards, which we'll talk about later. A well-timed teleport can quickly turn the tide of battle for better, or sometimes worse. Mid lane. Do you like ninjas? Assassins? Wizards? Ninja assassins? Ninja wizards? Mid lane is calling your name. Often the coveted position for super competitive sweep playmakers, mid laners are often the first responders to cries for help. A mid laner levels up very quickly, pushes out their lane, so they can roam the map and try and get surprise kills. They'll occasionally take teleport as a summoner skill, but usually they take ignite, which lights an opponent on fire, doing a small portion of damage over time and reducing the healing the victim would receive. A great summoner skill for ensuring kills.
ADC.
If you like the long-range approach of right-clicking to win with machine guns, bazookas, arrows, and more, then you might be an ADC, or attack damage carry. ADCs are marksmen that start off the game relatively weak, but grow over the course of the game to be significant damage dealers. To cover their weakness a bit, ADCs tend to take life-saving abilities for their summoner spells. Heal provides a small burst of health to the user and any teammates in range, as well as a temporary move speed increase. Another highly utilized summoner spell would be Barrier, which gives a fast fleeting shield. ADCs are vulnerable early on, and so another teammate acts as a personal bodyguard of sorts, called a support. Support varies from tanky characters to squishy healers and mages. A support tries to help keep the ADC alive, lock down enemy targets to help secure kills, and wander the map placing vision providing items called wards. That's right, wards. Warding is everyone's responsibility. Every character can get a free ward. Free! And yet the responsibility and blame falls upon the support the most. You will always be blamed for not warding absolutely everywhere, so prepare for that. Supports will often take the summoner spell Exhaust, which slows down an enemy champion's movement and attack speed. And for the last role, the most hated and possibly the most fun, the jungler. Jungler! A jungler gets their experience and gold from killing the neutral monsters found in the jungle. Almost all junglers take the summoner spell Smite, which does damage to jungle monsters and minions. Smite can also change to do things in slightly different ways by taking your starting item, the machete, and upgrading it into different weapons. One version allows Smite to hit many monsters rather than just one. Another version allows you to smite and slow enemy champions. Regardless of which Smite you choose, by using Smite on some of the bigger jungle monsters, you will receive varying buffs and benefits. We'll cover those in a bit, but first let's go over what a jungle's main purposes are. Number 1. Ganking. You stealthily approach a lane to help your teammate secure a kill. Methods vary from champion to champion. It could be your jungler is good at what is called crowd control, or CC, which means they immobilize or impede an opponent. Some junglers come out of hiding and do a ton of damage. Other junglers could be tanks or provide some amount of utility to the team. A good jungler should buy wards and help in the vision game, getting wards in their own jungle or the enemy's. Some junglers excel at invading their opponent's jungle, either to steal monster camps or try and kill the opposing jungler. We call this counter-jungling, yet another reason to buy wards. A good jungler will find the right balance between farming jungle camps, ganking lanes, warding, and keeping track of the objectives in teamfights. If you lose, your team will generally blame you. If you win, it's irrelevant that you're there. Such is the life of the jungler.
The jungle.
Let's talk real quick about the monsters found in the jungle and some of the objectives therein that your team should keep track of. The Gromp, my favorite monster. A tiny froggy that turns into a giant bilious behemoth. If you use Smite on this guy, you'll gain a poisonous buff that'll deal damage to anyone close to you in a continuous aura. The Krugs. These guys know how to rock. Okay, that was bad. Moving on. There are 2 Krugs in the camp, a little one and a big one. Smiting the big one makes it so every 6th auto attack you do will stun your target for a short period. Wolves. They huff and they puff and okay. They're pretty much the easiest camp. If you're not confident in jungling, start with them. Smiting the big wolf will cause a ghost wolf to set up some vision for you in the jungle. How thoughtful. Razor beaks. Like the name says, these birds don't mess around, and there's 4 of them. A bit of caution is advised as this camp is also dangerously close to the mid lane. Smiting the big bird gives you a temporary buff that alarms you when you've been detected by wards. Red and blue. These are your 2 most important camps. Killing the biggest ones will grant you a buff. Red will cause your attacks to do damage over time and slow your opponents. Blue will cause your mana or energy to regenerate faster and reduce the cooldowns of your abilities. Smiting the red one will give you some health back, while smiting the blue will return some mana. These camps' respawn timers are very important. Be sure to hit the tab key often to keep track of them. Oftentimes, the jungler will let the mid laners get the blue buff later in the game, and the ADCs get the red. Though not always. It's meant to be at the jungler's discretion. Their jungle, their rules. Scuttle crabs. They're so cute. Why hurt these poor little guys? They don't even fight back, they just run away. Why won't you let them live, you meanie? Well, if you're a cold-blooded crab killer, they provide a good amount of vision to the two biggest jungle objectives in the game.
The dragon.
Different types of elemental dragons will spawn in this pit on the bottom side of the map. Each dragon can give different buffs that are advantageous to your team. Try to keep this area warded, and pay attention to the timer by hitting tab. The Rift Herald and Baron Nashor. Baron Pit used to be empty for the first 20 minutes of the game, but now that vacancy has been filled by a mini Baron called the Rift Herald. He's fairly difficult to kill early on, and grants a decent minion empowering buff. Baron, who in my opinion needs a fancy hat, is a stronger version of the Rift Herald that spawns when the clock hits 20. Many team fights are centered around the Baron Pit or the Dragon. Vision, map awareness, and team coordination are everything when it comes to these objectives.
Beginner's tips.
So now that we've covered the game in a nutshell, let's throw out some beginner's tips to help you through the journey of being a noob. 1. You move and attack with the right click button. However, you shouldn't only use right click to move. A more efficient way to attack in the long run is to hit A and then left click on your target. This will allow you to do what we call orb walking. You can move a tiny bit in between each attack. This will make it a lot harder for your opponent to land skill shots against you. Practice hitting right click, then A, then left click, then right click, and so on. You will go far in League. 2. Moving in range of a tower without your minions by you will get you shot to pieces. Wait for minions to get in range. The tower will prioritize them over you. However, if you damage an enemy champion while in range of the tower, it'll fire upon you regardless of minions. 3. Learn to play with an unlocked screen. It's better in the long run. You won't be able to see danger coming in your direction if the screen is locked around you. You can unlock and lock the screen with Y. Use spacebar to recenter the camera. Also, go into the options to change the speed that you move the camera so that it's good for you. 4. Watch your health. Play safe. Take potions sooner rather than later. You never know when the enemy jungler is going to come and gank you. Ward possible ambush points. It's better to go back to the base and get your health back, which you can do by pressing the B button, than let the enemies get a kill off of you. Any idiot could tell you this sound strategy. Hit things until they die and don't die yourself. 5. Ward, ward, ward. Try and buy a ward every time you go back to the base. Help the team, help yourself. 6. Free rotation. League has over 100 champions. When you start playing, you own 0. You could purchase characters with real life money, which you spend to buy riot points or RP. There are sales for buying characters with RP all the time. If you're a bit thrifty, cheap, broke, there is another way to buy characters, which is by using influence points, or IP. IP is earned after every match you play, so you can work towards getting the characters you want just by playing the game. But you may not want to go gung-ho buying any character you think looks cool. It may turn out they're not really your style. Every week there is a different rotation of characters that can be tried out for free. It's advisable to try the free characters often. It'll give you a better understanding of how to play as them or against them. Plus, you might find yourself really enjoying someone you knew little about. 7. Runes and Masteries. When picking your champion before the match starts, you will pick your 2 summoner spells, as well as a rune page and a mastery table. Runes are tiny beneficial blocks that grant different statistical bonuses. As a marksman, you may want some attack damage or lifesteal, whereas a tank you might want health or armor. Runes and rune pages are purchased in the store with IP. Masteries are skill tables that will benefit you with statistical increases as well, but also special traits or abilities. Once you get the hang of League, be sure to pay attention to runes and masteries on all of your characters. Feel free to leave a comment of who your first League of Legends character was. I learned with Jinx. Alright Summoners, we'll see you on the Rift.